Hi, welcome to Flow Notes. I am Anton Heestand, and today we're going to create this animation. So it's not as complex as you might think. This is all the nodes you need, and we'll start from scratch. Okay, so let's start with creating a pixel particles node. So this node will have some warning in the start, so it's missing connection for inlet locations, and that is this current locations. So pixel particles is based on pixels, and each pixel becomes a particle. That's the concept. So to create some particles, we need to create a graphic that is powering the pixels. So to do that, we create something called a UV map by combining two gradients. Okay, so the first gradient needs to be the y-axis. So we want to go from black to green. So open the color stops here and change the values to be green, and then duplicate this node and change the direction to be horizontal, and then we want to change this color to be red. So now we have a gradient in each axis, and we want to combine them with a blend node like this. So we just wire these together, and then the default blending mode is add, and that's what we want. But one thing we got to keep in mind here is if we connect these pixel particles to the locations here, we can see that we have a grid here, but we get a warning, and it's saying that we should have 16 bits actually. So that currently the particles are a little bit quantized. So we will select both of these nodes and change them to be 16-bit or 32-bit. So we'll start with 16-bit. Okay, so now the pixel particles are looking a little bit more fine-tuned, but they're all in the top right corner here. So to understand what's happening is that each red and green color gets converted into an X and Y position. So we're going here from 0 to 1 in both axes, and 0 is in the center in the pixel particles coordinate space. So we need to transform them, and to transform them we use the levels, because the particles are pixels now. So we add in the levels, and then we go to the exposure offset and do minus 0.5. And then we wire this one like this, and now the pixel particles are centered. Let me just clean this up a little bit. Okay, now when we have some pixel particles, we will try to animate them with some noise. So drop down a noise node, a graphic, and we want to make sure it's colored, because X and Y needs to have different noise layers. So to combine the blend and noise to make sure that the pixel particles are moving, we will use a cross. So it's a crossfade. If we move these nodes over here, we can combine the blend with the noise, and that will average them by default. And now we can see that the pixel particles have a more interesting shape. Okay, next step will be to animate. So to animate these pixel particles, we will use a stopwatch, and we will connect the time to the depth offset on the noise. And we will set the speed to 1000, or maybe 100 for now. And then set this to running. So now we can see that the pixel particles are animating, and they're a little bit bright, so we'll open the pixel particles and go down to the color and change the alpha to 0.1. Now we could also add a little blur effect to this to make it pop a little bit. So we'll add a luma blur. And we will reuse the noise that we had as a modifier graphic and pipe in the pixel particles. So now everything gets blurred, so we need to change the gamma here. The luma gamma, we'll set it down to a pretty low value. And then we can change the radius to be larger. That gives us a little bit more interesting effect. Now the output of the pixel particles and the input of the noise aren't really related here, so it's kind of random, but you can experiment more to get it to be more accurate, or to even color the pixel particles with the second input here, the colors. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. By the way, the Pixel Particles nodes is part of a bundle, so it's not a free node. It's only a couple dollars, and I appreciate the support for supporting the development of Flow nodes. Thank you.